Hello, welcome back to the L1 show, Links with Friends. Today is July 14th, and we're doing AI and nonsense stories for you to share with your friends.
It's actually robot and nonsense, but
That's mostly
might
AI.
as well just be AI, right?
Yeah.
And we'll start with the biggest news, and that is the iteration toward total robot control.
OpenAI makes GPT-4 generally available. I have not played with it yet, not really. Supposedly this thing has got its own built-in like code parser, code runner thing, but it got real dumb the last couple of weeks with, it's like, hey, I need like something like this, and it's just like, oh.
Well,
It's becoming a surly teenager. Like when you ask, how was your day at school? Oh, it was fine. Just didn't want to answer.
they've got it. You can try it. You know what else? I revisited AI Dungeon thinking like, man, that's got to be a better experience now that we've...
Is it the same?
It's way worse.
Really?
Way worse. It doesn't give you very much. Sometimes it'll just give you like a sentence or half a sentence, and you have to keep clicking. And I think that's so you can churn through your free credits. But that was awful.
That's the way all of it's going to go because money is all.
The videos of the Skyrim quest with the generative NPCs, very good.
Yeah, because that's modders who are doing that because they're passionate about it and not for money.
And maybe the hype is starting to die down just a little bit. I mean, a lot of this is hype. It will pull back, but they have changed the world.
ChatGPT's explosive growth shows a first decline in traffic since launch. That definitely doesn't have to do with the nerfing from the trust and safety team.
They've ruined it. Remember how great it was for that, like a week when they first launched it? That was
I want to
amazing.
make some napalm. All right, that sounds good. What are we doing? And it's just like,
Let me tell you about that.
One of the amazing things about that time was when people were coming up with ways to make it do creative things that OpenAI didn't want it to do. And that was the beauty of it. And they were like, no, we have to stop all of that. We innovate, not you. It's only us.
ChatGPT pauses Bing integration to stop people from bypassing paywalls. Hey, ChatGPT, can you go read this New York Times article for me? Sure. Can
Sure.
do.
Yeah, no problem.
And the amazing thing is, under U.S. copyright law, that's completely fine.
But it also shows that this New York Times okay with being trolled by ChatGPT?
Well, it's funny. The artists' complaints are starting to look more real now that it's a big corporation dealing with them.
I also really like corporate personhood here because that corporation can agree to the New York Times, terms of service. And it's like, I'm going to read and enjoy your article and then internalize what I learned from your article and then tell people about the contents of your article, which you can't really put in your terms of service as being a disallowed activity.
Nobody tell them about Axios. Because that's their business model. And Google have changed their terms of service. This is not shocking to anyone, is it?
Google says it'll scrape everything you post online for AI. Why? Because that's what's allowed under the law.
What a great image here, too.
Look at Disney. Google, you just replace this for Disney. Disney says that it'll scrape everything you post online and use it for their creative work. There's nothing you can do to stop them. This is a thing that already happens. The only thing that companies are up in arms about is that with the AI tools, individuals now have as much creative power as Disney. And that's the thing companies don't like.
And that they're effectively stopping.
That is all of the anti-AI rhetoric comes from the fact that it levels the playing field. For better or worse.
Kind of like gunpowder, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's not untrue that there are and will be artists suffering under AI doing that, but that was already there. Now the playing field is leveled.
And AI, we're just getting the new hotness in AI, but we've been using AI for a long time. And way back in the fictional days of 2020, remember that?
Oh,
The year that wasn't? Well, we were trying to make drugs with AI, and finally, some yields.
The first fully AI-generated drug enters clinical trials in human patients. So far, it's not failing catastrophically.
It's a very specific disease. I can't remember what it is. Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which
wow.
sounds horrific. So
It's a
maybe
mouthful.
if you've got that, maybe some hope on the horizon, thanks to the robot friends. And more, we find that all websites are going to be generated by robots and nothing is going to be real. Every week we get more names.
Gizmodo and Kotaku staff furious after owner announces that they're moving to AI content.
It's going to be bad news for us eventually too, because eventually we're going to be looking for
The-
real news, and it's just going to be AI.
We've got another story about the sub implosion earlier, but if you just go search for that, 99 out of 100 results are AI generated stories about the sub that have bad information.
Gardening content is very much that way too.
Now, on the other hand, there's some quotes in here from Kotaku, and they're like, "We have really talented writers, and this is not fair." I've read Kotaku stories. I don't think
But
so.
they are human. They're terrifyingly organic, if nothing else, right?
I don't know. They already felt pretty like listicle to me.
Because we're already being run by AI. It's just an algorithm. Now we're just going to the final phase of that.
Oh, we should have put the fly story in. Crap. Did you see the thing about we imaged the fly brain and we simulated the fly brain? Like we did everything. It's not just the neurons, it's all the connections, it's everything.
I remember doing that a while back.
Yeah, they got it up and running. You can download the model now yourself and run it. And real fly and simulated fly behavior given stimulus input exactly match.
Oh, so now when we kill all the bees, we can make replacement bees.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get their brains now.
Theoretically, we have the technology to capture someone's entire meat brain. We don't have the technology to run it yet, but we can capture it.
That just sounds like when I die, I want you to double tap. Just
That seems like there would be a storage issue.
Yeah, it would be a fantastic amount of information, but you can download the file for the fruit fly right now. It's not obscenely huge.
That's probably about what you'd get from an Apple user.
fruit fly.
A literal fruit fly
Yeah.
for apples.
Well, AI is not just designing drugs. They are also designing our precious chips.
Chinese researchers used AI to design a RISC-V CPU in under 5 hours. It has the performance class of a 486.
So they got to go home early and relax with their families, right?
They get to keep their kidneys, Krista.
Oh,
I don't think they're going to make any money from the 486 power. They just showed what it can do. But this is the first time it's ever done it all by itself. Good job, robots. And ChatGPT and Google, they are looking at everything. They admit it. They're like, yeah, from now on, we're looking at everything. But they already looked at everything, including some copyright material. Is that okay? If you put something out there in the world, do you get to decide who reads it?
Lawsuit says OpenAI violated U.S. authors' copyrights to train AI chatbot. Well, it's not copyright. That's not how copyright works. But if the authors invented something, they can patent it. And then if the robot invents the thing that was patented, then that would be a violation. But that's not how copyright works.
They're probably hoping that OpenAI has a lot of money. They don't want to be bothered with this, but they do not want to set this precedent.
Yeah.
I think they will fight this to the bitter end.
This actually could end up setting the opposite precedent.
Yeah.
Because under copyright law right now in the U.S., very, very okay. But it's a weird, it's always, in the beginning, like with patents and copyright, they were basically equal things. They were two sides of the same coin. You have an invention, you patent it, and then no one can make the thing. Or you can copyright something. You're going to describe something or write a book or whatever, and that's yours. But if somebody could take the idea of, you know, a kid convincing another kid to whitewash a fence as like a fun activity, if you put that in another book that's not Tom Sawyer, then that's not a violation of copyright.
I think that was in Huck Finn.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's right.
And we talk about central bank digital currency, and the fear there is that, you know, once you're on that system, any little infraction will get you kicked off the system and put you into a homeless spiral that you'll eventually die. This sounds like that, but just an early version of it, just a preview.
Mastercard AI-powered tool helps banks fight fraud by selectively not letting you have transactions. And this definitely won't be applied to central bank digital currency.
Now, it's not quite just looking at what you're buying yet. It probably is, let's be honest. But what they're talking about here is once they identify someone who is getting scam payments, they can look at all transactions and let the AI identify, oh, those payments are going to the same person. So shut that down.
but you can own this article as an NFT. Thank goodness.
Boy, the NFTs, you don't hear about those anymore. do you?
Well, except on that website.
Well, it's Cointelegraph.
Yeah, yeah.
And learning institutions, when AI came out, they panicked and they reacted harshly. And now I think they've just had to accept that AI is a part of learning from now on.
UK universities draw up guiding principles on generative AI.
It's not so much a part of learning so much as, regurgitating whatever you want the professor to hear.
Well, they're talking about they're going to have to change testing because of it.
Yeah. Lesson plans and whatnot.
We need to build in the holographic banana equivalent to a test question.
Or, you could design a question that's more like critical thinking based, but even then people will just generate paragraphs of text.
And if you want to get venture capital these days, or if you want to capture the hearts and minds of people, AI, obviously, that's the big one, but also nostalgia. Nostalgia is always a great silver bullet for that kind of thing. This genius person put the two together.
Forget Microsoft Copilot, an unofficial Clippy AI is available for Windows 11.
Look at him floating in that soup.
If this is
out of the ether.
The AI that leads to Terminators, I for one welcome it.
I hope that when we finally do get Terminators, they have the googly eyes.
Yeah. the wacky inflatable tube men.
And the queen is dead, unfortunately. But if it were up to this guy, that would have happened sooner. And perhaps we have AI to thank for that.
The man who tried to kill the queen with a crossbow, encouraged by AI chatbot, prosecutors say.
Now, this is the chatbot that that's supposed to be your girlfriend, where she kind of she's up for whatever.
It sounds like a toxic relationship.
He was just like, hey, I'm an assassin. And the AI was like, oh, that's cool. I'm into that. Because that's what she's going to say about everything that you say. So she supported him in his bid to murder the queen with a crossbow. He was also heavy into Star Wars. I felt like he was kind of in a Star Wars situation. He was trying to get revenge for some genocide.
Real or imagined?
I think it was real. I don't know. I don't know much about that area. We learned about this, that it was happening. It has now happened, and it was somewhat successful.
Robot takes the podium as orchestra conductor in South Korea.
What we didn't realize at first that was left out of the hype stories, this robot doesn't have any way of listening to the music. So it was just taking the sheet music and gesticulating, but it didn't know whether the people were actually doing the right thing or not. So they interviewed some of the people in the audience and they said it was a bit flat.
Yeah. It's because it's not reacting to the music. It's just moving. It'd be like me getting up there and like someone's going slow, and instead of being able to tell them, hey, speed it up, I'm just still going.
You're not even making the right movements.
Yeah.
You're just smiling and waving your arms.
There was an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation like this where Data was like, no, I reproduced this thing perfectly. And it's like, no, you can't time the violin movements down to the nanosecond. You have to improvise a little bit. And so it took him a little bit to struggle with it too.
Yeah, it's like dancing as well. Dancing, you kind of need to feel the beat, and trying to explain that to someone who's never danced before or isn't good at dancing, that's hard.
Well, maybe grandma can feel the beat when she gets her new AI assistant who can play music.
Would you leave grandma with a companion robot? Carebots and robot pets find favor in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, I absolutely would. That robot bear from the artificial intelligence movie, the Steven Spielberg movie, would do a better job taking care of my mom's cat than she does.
So this iteration of it is just like a little, it's like the thing that Facebook
Screen,
had.
yeah.
But that is an AI in there, and it'll sort of like set reminders and encourage exercise, and it can walk them through workouts. It will remind them to take their medicine and so forth and talk to them. This woman said she loved it. She's 82. In the Pacific Northwest, you can get on a trial program for this kind of thing. And then it's free now, but there's going to be a monthly fee. They also have these dogs and cats who are robots. And elderly people can get these.
It looks a little stiff in that picture, but
it's like taxidermy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it makes them happy. Why not? And I'm surprised that Marvel is not suing.
Yeah.
Do you think Disney will eventually go after these guys?
Yeah, probably.
There's only 4 arms here. If there were 3 on each side, forget it.
Japanese researchers develop wearable robotic arms to see how they look. This is Doc Ock. It's a female version of Doc Ock.
Oh wait, there only two? Oh, it's different. You can set as many as you want. Interesting.
This is going to be in an Iris Van Herpen show in a couple seasons.
It didn't seem all that functional based on what I read,
It looks more like they're using it as like a dance demo here.
which is
For aesthetic
like,
purposes,
How much
yeah.
does that cost for a dance demo? I don't know. I could use an extra pair of hands.
Yeah.
Be great.
Doing some post storm repairs. I've got an extra set of hands to hold things and hold
Cooking?
tools and stuff.
Yeah.
Think about cooking.
And you wouldn't worry about burning that hand either.
Just
So you
jam
could
it right
yeah.
in. Of course, it's probably not going to be waterproof.
Well, I'm thinking just like pulling pans out of the oven.
Oh yeah.
Stir the spaghetti in the pot. Just
Rather than hold a pot holder, I'm going to stick my $250,000 robot hand.
Into this oven, yeah. That plastic's probably fine.
Well, will those robots be long lasting? Because these days everything is planned obsolescence, except for this guy. My God, what an overachiever.
yeah. Mars helicopter finally makes contact after 2 months of silence. Yo, you up? It had landed over a hill, so the rover had to get higher ground in order to reestablish communication. But there it is.
But like a year ago, this thing had far surpassed its expectations in terms of flights.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. Amazing.
It's power NASA.
They should try to fly it over to one of the other rovers that's got dust on its solar sails and see if it can blow the dust off its solar.
It needs one of those robotic arms to.
It could end in disaster.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies a long time ago learned that when it comes to technology, it's a lot cheaper to make it somewhere other than the United States because all those pesky laws don't get in the way. Blue Origin is figuring that out about space.
Blue Origin is planning to open new launch sites outside the United States. Gosh, how crazy would it be if you have drone delivery from launch from space out of like Cuba because that's cheaper? It's like after the UPS strike. It's like, oh yeah, there you go.
Do you think that'll make a difference, like in some of their government contracts? Do you think the U.S. will be kind of pissy about that?
Probably, but they're already in such a strong position.
You just go on Amazon and order a nuclear strike to anywhere you want around the world.
Or, it could be like a MERV Amazon delivery where it goes into orbit and then launches smaller drones and does like 50 deliveries all at once.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine you got to get out your Amex plutonium card for that.
Galenium. Germanium. And the Zuckerberg-Musk fight, it was on, it was off, it's on again.
Elon's mom said no. Sorry, my mom said I can't come out to play right now.
I suspect this is going to be a perpetual tease
Yeah.
for at least the next year.
Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg offered Rome's Colosseum as cage fight venue. If only the Colosseum builders could see them now.
They'd be like, these gladiators suck. Look at them.
These are your best. But that, you can't actually sit in the like seating there because I think it's too broken down. You can only seat like 400 people.
Yeah.
They should put this in a stadium.
Yeah.
This is going to draw big numbers.
The new one in Vegas.
Oh, that big. Yeah. I don't think it's a stadium. I think it's just like a giant orb.
Well, I know somebody who could sell it out, but apparently she's just as angry about the smoke as the rest of us.
MP files official grievance after Taylor Swift announces new tour dates with no Canadian cities. Yeah, Justin Trudeau literally replied to a tweet from Taylor Swift. It was, hey, call me maybe, which apparently is funny.
That's not one of her songs.
It's not?
Call Me Maybe? No.
Oh, what an idiot.
That's Carly Rae Jepsen.
This is probably not true, but in my mind, I like to believe that she's doing this for the truckers.
She's fighting them.
No, in support for what he did to them. And over in France, all that bad stuff happened, and now we need explanations. What has caused all of this horror, and what can we do about it? And Macron has pulled out one of the oldest plays in the government excuse book. It's so overused at this point, but I guess he can't say the truth, right?
Macron blames video games for riots, calls on parents to help. It's definitely not the billionaires.
Has nothing to do with the unfair labor practices, the horrible society we've built.
It's like the economic output of a single individual is more than 300% what it was just 30 years ago, and yet you have a worse quality of life. And that's video games' fault.
Also, I've not played a lot of Riot Simulator video games.
Oh, we've been playing the one
The meth
we're on
house
the
is
other
pretty
side of that
accurate.
one.
Yeah, we're the police in that one, ready or not.
And the Barbie film has released. Anybody see that?
No, is Oppenheimer? Oppenheimer?
21st.
21st. Okay, I want to see that.
I don't think those are in the same category.
No, but I think they're releasing around the same time, so there's been like dual marketing with both.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's not out yet. Maybe like planned for the 17th.
Yeah, it's the same weekend because people have been making jokes about like going to see Barbie and then going to see that right after. So you have to like change outfits halfway through.
Well, if you're in Vietnam, you won't have to do that because you only have one of those to choose from.
Vietnam bans Barbie film over disputed map of China's South China Sea claims.
What a silly.
So they mentioned some other movies, and it seems like, I don't know if it's just the visual effects people not being aware. You think that would have to be, right?
I don't know that you would though. Like if it's like a split second frame of like, here's where Barbie's traveling over.
The
like,
VFX people were in China.
Yeah. Well, this does in fact show all of that as belonging to China. So they put that dotted line in a place that Vietnam does not like. So this movie will not be shown. Why not just cut that?
that one frame, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need that in the movie, right?
No, it's imperative to the understanding of Barbie's geopolitical situation.
Why is Barbie in the South China Sea?
It's probably a scene where they're traveling or something, like a map scene.
I forgot to put this one in last week, but I couldn't pass it up.
Psychopathic individuals struggle to recognize and resonate with the emotion in music, study finds.
Who do we know like that?
Yeah, I don't. Reading the article, it was like, and they struggle with, yep. And then they also have trouble with, yep.
I was waiting for the paragraph was like, but they really like parody music.
Yeah, that's the only thing missing.
I think you still have empathy, just not
It's
triggered by music.
Yeah, it's just the cleverness. And any kind of emotional response for music comes from a memory of when I heard that and something was happening at the same time. And
That's how Krista processes video games.
yeah.
Well, if you're in France, you've probably had a rough couple of weeks. One thing that could help you maybe take the edge off was a little nose candy, but you're thinking like, where am I going to get it?
Well,
just look into the sky.
Drugs rain down on countryside after French fighter jet intercepts a tourist plane carrying millions upon millions of dollars of drugs.
It's sparkling drugs.
So that's what the riots are about.
Champagne.
Oh, we'll forget that as a title.
Once the fighter jet got behind them, they dumped everything, and it was a lot. But they tracked it and they found it and confirmed that that's what it was. Also, cash.
Wow.
And if you're having trouble raising children, it's tough. How do you deal with them, right? How do you punish your kids? You're not allowed to hit them anymore. This is probably the wrong way.
Florida police officers are accused of jailing their young son over potty training accidents. Their 3.5-year-old son is having potty training accidents, and they're police officers. So what do? You put them in jail to punish them.
So when I saw this headline, it didn't mention the potty training part. It was just like jailing, and I assumed it was like, you saw a firefighter or something, and it's like, oh, if you don't behave, we're gonna put you in jail. Like, kind of like as a teasing thing, but not actually putting your kid in. But no, it's like the worst possible thing.
So both of these parents are cops. The woman jailed him one day for 3 minutes, and then the next day, I guess the father was watching him. He had another accident, and then he went in for 12 minutes. And they claimed it was effective. Also, another defense they had when they were being questioned by Internal Affairs was, we did this with our first kid.
Which, yeah.
He's fine.
Well, it's a weird thing, too, to do with potty training because kids don't always have control over their bladder.
Yeah, this kid
I don't think he was doing it out of spite. Like, he wasn't misbehaving so much as, like, he just doesn't understand probably the full concept yet. Like,
but here's an interesting thing. He's 3, right?
Right.
So he's going to daycare, and the daycare has a rule, no accidents. If you are not at that level yet, you cannot go to this daycare. So he was going to get ejected from the daycare. That's why they went to these extreme lengths. Also, that jail cell is taxpayer funded. It ain't for your parenting.
yeah.
Why is that kid at the station during the day?
Yeah, that is odd.
Probably because he got kicked out of the daycare, right?
Yeah.
For poopies.
It's probably not the best way to parent, I would agree.
And definitely not the best way to apply for a new career.
Woman arrested during employment meeting with sheriff's department. She's like, I can get a job at the sheriff's department. And she came in 3 sheets to the wind.
She looks super buzzed in that. This is probably an hour later, and she's still
Feeling pretty good.
By the time they got her on a breathalyzer, she was a 0.16, I think.
That's pretty bad.
These are people who are trained to detect that. What's your thought process?
You probably don't have one because you're wasted.
But it was 9 a.m.
Well, so she had to get up pretty early to make sure she was ready for her interview.
Pre-game.
Yeah.
I got to pre-game this interview or I'll never be able to get through it. And Wendell, this probably is part of your
Anger.
like
issue.
you hate people who disrespect public bathrooms, but this is a really unique one.
Police in Sapporo looking for a serial urinal grate thief. It's the little grate in the bottom that prevents larger stuff from going down the drain. Like, who would steal it? It's got to be some art piece. It's got to be some.
I like that
person.
you think it might be art. That's very naive of you.
But they mentioned how cheap these things are. I think they're like 1,000 yen, which is, what is that, 20 cents or something like that? You could buy them in bulk if you wanted to do an art piece. And they wouldn't be covered with other people's urine,
But the urine adds to it.
I guess. They have no idea who's doing it, but it seems to be spreading now. More and more people.
Why? Is this a TikTok trend in Japan?
You think those are screwed in there, or can you just pop them right out?
I wouldn't put my hand in to find out.
Somebody did. And political leaders, it seems like more and more we're getting political leaders who just throw caution to the wind and don't care about laws or anything like that.
Helsinki deputy mayor caught spray painting graffiti in the railway tunnel. And I've read this whole thing looking for answers, and there are none.
Does it say what he spray painted?
No.
Yeah, no, as a youth, he was big into spray painting, and it was just like.
Did he write his name? Was it Rom?
No, I think he was with a group. They were doing like a really big mural or something.
So he's making art.
But that's not how the transport people consider it. He would apologize, and he said he takes full responsibility, but is that leadership material?
What's funny is that as the mayor, he could probably get himself a permit for that pretty easily.
Oh, yeah. Well, approach it from that direction.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to enrich the tunnels.
Yeah, we're going to do some artwork. And I've contacted some of my old art contacts for this. And yeah, it seems like that would be an easy way to get around it.
Probably doesn't hit the same, though, right? Doesn't give you
Yeah, it's not the same high.
Yeah.
You're not sticking it to the man because you are the man.
Well, some people that won't be sticking anything to anything anymore is these people because they are done.
OceanGate suspends exploration and commercial operations after the deadly implosion of its Titan submersible.
Is that surprising to literally anyone?
I mean, I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah, I would think as soon as it like disappeared, it's like, well, you guys are done.
There was a leaked transcript that may or may not have been official, but apparently they knew that something was wrong because they dropped the weight before they got all the way to the bottom.
Can you imagine the kind of person who would still sign on for something like this if
Oh
they
my
built
gosh,
another one?
yeah, I want to be paced.
That's like the girls who dated O.J. Simpson after he got out. What are you thinking?
I want to be human salsa.
And
This is a landmine of a headline.
yeah, Eric Adams from New York, he has some great sound bites, and they're each one more insane than the next. This one really pushed the boundaries.
Mayor compares housing activist whose family fled the Holocaust to a plantation owner. Mayor Eric Adams criticized the woman whose family left Germany in the 1930s. She asked, why are the rent increases being allowed for elderly and fixed income people? That was one of the things you campaigned and said that you would put a stop to. The rent has gone up twice. I'm elderly and on fixed income. What are you doing?
And he said, "You do not point your finger at me," and then accused her of these things and said, "You will show me the respect that I deserve as the mayor." I don't think he understands how respect works.
No.
But Eric, if you're listening, and I'm sure you're not, no one respects you. Now, Krista, you did barbecue at your wedding.
I did.
Were you satisfied with that?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
But what if it could have been nuggets?
McDonald's $230 wedding package sparks avalanche of jokes and memes. Waffle House also does catering.
Ooh.
And I did actually consider it. I am not above Waffle House catering.
How you keep the waffles warm? Or do they sit there and make waffles?
They might sit there and make it. I'm not sure.
Like a hotel style. That's
Yeah.
actually not bad.
Yeah, that would probably be good.
So this was, what country was this in? It's only in one country.
I could have sworn I saw one here because my cousin's getting married and I saw it and I sent her a picture. But it might not have been McDonald's. It might have been another fast food chain.
Indonesia. It's only in Indonesia. But they've got several different plans. That's mostly chicken sandwiches. Is Indonesia a Muslim country?
Maybe.
Or
maybe they just really like chicken.
But yeah, a variety of different. And then, of course, they're making fun of Trump because he did the football player thing. Look how nice that looks.
It'll never look that good in person, but
It seemed relatively cheap because it was 400 nuggets in total and like 100 burgers.
Quite the value.
yeah, a value menu, if you will.
And
I don't see how this person's not dead.
Yeah, how are they not stopped up all?
The doctor's explanation is, his body adjusted. And it's like,
How?
what?
how jealous are you, though?
Yeah.
You can't have the cheese.
Man addicted to cheese has spent 60,000 pounds on cheddar and eats at least 2 blocks a day. And his doctor's like, his body's acclimatized to it because he's apparently in good shape and he's got good numbers.
How?
You think he takes a dump like once a week?
Oh my
I
gosh.
should have been playing in the ticks since a child so that I could develop an
Acclimate.
immunity. Yeah. I was too sheltered.
She described his favorite sandwich as taking a full block of cheese, shaving it down into shavings, and then just putting that pile in between 2 pieces of bread. She said he would eat 3 or 4 of them a day.
At least it's real cheese, though. Like the picture that they had in the thing is a real cheese.
He's not eating Velveeta.
Yeah, as opposed to Velveeta. That's what I was thinking. Because when it was described, it was like,
A
Velveeta.
block of Velveeta,
And
yeah.
It was like, real cheddar. I don't know. That maybe could be doable.
Also, how does that guy not have a cheese review YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, I'd like to know what his opinions are.
But you shouldn't have any tap water with that cheese.
Forever chemicals could be in nearly half of U.S. tap water, a federal study finds. Does anybody know of a home reverse osmosis kit? Because
Alex Jones.
the plumbing in my house is such
Obviously.
that all the sinks have different plumbing lines than all of the places you might get potable water are plumbed differently than. And so I could do a reverse osmosis thing so that the sinks are different than the showers.
Though most of them are at sink level.
Oh, okay.
They're under sink. I don't, whole house ones, I'm not sure. But yeah, you could definitely do a sink one. I feel kind of bad when I first got my cats. I don't touch tap water.
Except you're still getting it out of a plastic bottle, so you're probably still affected.
Maybe, but I doubt it's probably more of what's coming out of us than being factored back in.
But it's a lot of these forever chemicals come from plastics.
Well, I fed my cats only bottled water in the beginning, but they're such little terrorists. They destroyed the fountain and they kept turning it over. And I was like, that's too expensive. I can't be buying.
Just give them tap water.
So now I'm giving them tap water, but then I got to rethink again. Like, I don't know.
Wonder if they can taste the difference.
Cats can have a microplastic.
And,
they don't live long enough for the accumulation to be that bad.
Well, they're short lives. You got to think about what you're going to do with your pets after they're gone. Maybe this is a solution.
What is water cremation? UK to offer eco-friendly burial alternative for the first time. This basically just uses water to blast you into a slurry.
And heat. It basically kind of just pressure cooks you till there's nothing but bones left. And they grind those up, put them in there, and give them to you. I wonder what they do with the slurry.
They're just drinking it in the back.
That's the Grimace McShakes.
Oh,
That's mechanically separated human. Krista, you love your dog.
I do.
Would you go to battle with a black bear for Little Roo?
I might, depending on the context.
Well, this woman did.
Maine woman punches bear that chased her dog and ends up with stitches.
That wasn't super crazy.
So yeah, she punched it in the face, and I guess it like kind of caught her hand. I was like, "Hey, don't do that."
Yeah.
But it didn't like aggressively try to eat her or anything. It did flee.
Black bears are usually kind of cowardly. That's why, like, if it was a brown bear, I'd be like, Rue, good luck. But I might try to take a black bear.
The dog survived.
That's what's important.
It'll never appreciate what she did for her.
No, it'll be like back to whining for treats and pets and trying to escape.
And this young gator will probably be forever scarred by this incident. There's no way it can understand what kind of madness was going on here.
Young Florida man charged with animal cruelty for using a baby gator to shotgun a twisted T.
There's a picture, which that's awful, but It is kind of hilarious.
Also,
It's
really,
very Florida.
also really like the Florida subheadline. This isn't even the first time we've written about this.
Yeah.
This is literally the Florida man. This is why we have the Florida man tag.
Yeah.
It probably didn't get much of the drink in its mouth, but you got to think alcohol is probably going to be bad for
I think
you.
it's just holding it.
No, because when you shotgun, what you have to do is you have to put a hole to carburate.
Oh.
So you pop it and then you put a hole in it. So he used the gator to make the hole to bring the air in so he could drink it all at once.
It looks like he's just using it to.
Well, it is holding it, but it put enough of a puncture so that air could flow.
That poor gator's probably just confused.
Somebody should be working on like gator can holders, right? To capitalize on this.
Oh, yeah. Because you know there's going to be copycats.
Yeah. And well, I don't even know if you can read this, but
No.
there's a new surgery that's getting hot. And my God, I would be so terrified of this. I won't do LASIK for this reason. Can
Yeah.
you imagine this?
The big pen is war. The inventor of the world's first cosmetic pen implant says that a group of Houston doctors is trying to steal his ideas inside the multi-million-dollar feud. This is just...
Maybe just be happy with your body as it is, as much as you can be.
I don't know why, but when I was reading this, maybe it was because of this picture, I got I was having flashbacks to the episode of Dr. Phil where he had the bum fights guy on there, and the bum fights guy actually flummoxed Dr. Phil to the point that he he flushed and turned red and told him to get out after like 10 minutes.
So the one where you dressed up, I saw that post I think
Yeah.
earlier this week.
Yeah, the bum fights guy is
Dressed up like
as Dr.
Phil.
Phil, and Dr.
Yeah.
Phil's like, you can't be exploiting these people that are in this position, and he's like, go on.
But if you want this terrifying procedure, it's going to cost you, I think, like $17,000. And wow,
The plastic surgery is just out of control.
you got to wonder what kind of scar would be left.
It would take a while to
You could-
heal too.
But you could take that money and get 3-4 weeks of groceries, probably.
You could even buy the non-bag cereal. What a joy.
Well, but is it as much joy as the surprise? First time you revealed that. All right.
Anyway,
You've wasted another perfectly good week.
yeah. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.